Hello, art community. Welcome to week 5/chapter 5 of Steal Like an Artist and the Steal Like an Artist Journal by Austin Kleon. We're just going through this and having a nice discussion here together. You can just pop in starting now. You don't have to see the stuff previously, although I do recommend going and buying the book so that we can support this artist. As always, I always recommend that we support the content owner. So yeah, welcome again. And today's chapter is Side Projects and Hobbies Are Important. Give me a shout out in the chat if you did join in. I'd love to see who's here. Make your presence known, and of course, chat in there as we go along. If you have any comments, feel free to do that. This is open for everybody. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get started by maybe going through the Steal Like an Artist journal. I didn't do a whole lot in here this week, but I did do some practical applications from last week. So this week, I'm just kind of flipping through it and going ahead and doing stuff as I feel like it. Where did I go? Oh, so one of the creative exercises was 10 things lying around that nobody's using. I'm assuming this is a prompt to get those objects in your mind and maybe get you to start thinking about actually picking up and using some of the stuff around. Good morning. We have Zandra and Kim here in the chat room. Good morning. It's 2 p.m. I love that you always say that, Zandra. It cracks me up. But, time is just a social construct. So if it's your morning, it's your morning. I have been doing much better about waking up earlier, which I'm very happy about because I get more stuff done the earlier I get up. So, all right. Well, how was your guys' week? Did you end up, let's see, what was our thing from last week? Last week, our prompt was to think about, let's go back. Oh my God, it's getting real hot today. Sandra was up late. She went to bed at 8 a.m. Holy moly, I've done a few things like that this week. I'd like stay up for 20 hours and then sleep for maybe 8. One day I stayed up for 20, slept for 4, and then the next day still stayed up for 20. And it's like, I limit my coffee intake. I'm active during the day. I don't know. I was even Googling it, do some people need less sleep than others? But I don't know. Well, Zandra, I'm glad that you are alive and well and that you're using your nighttime hours to hopefully get some more enjoyment out of your day. So happy to hear that. Glad you still made it too. I know, Zandra, you said you set an alarm. So that's dope. All right, so last week we were talking about using our hands, bringing your body into your work, going from digital to analog, and maybe going from digital to analog back and forth in our working pipeline. And so one thing that I did last week was I picked up my crayons because I was telling you guys that I like to sketch out my concepts in crayon because it forces me to focus on form. I can't really get into the nitty-gritty detail. So I actually I had an idea. I was watching somebody do an abstract painting tutorial on YouTube, and from their painting, I gleaned a couple of painting techniques they were doing, and then I suddenly got an idea for a painting from that painting tutorial as well as some other art that I saw and in my mind, because I was like, oh, I really like that. And then I saw this, and then the two inspirations combined, and then I came up with my own thing entirely from that. So that was really exciting. I just drew that out in a crayon, and so I wouldn't forget it. Because part of what I do is, for some reason, I will type out or write out my idea instead of mocking it up. And I feel like if I have a mock-up to go through and see, that's a lot more of a spur of inspiration for me than just something that's written out. I don't know why I do that. Sometimes I'm on the go and I don't have a sketchbook. So things to think about, what do you do that maybe you could do in a better way that would facilitate more of a creative kick to get you going. Zandra says, word. Zandra also says, you got the sleep party right. I know. I wish I would just have like cuddle puddle sleep party day. Wouldn't that be fun? Remember back in the day with all your friends, you're just like, we're just hanging out today, piled on the couch. That sounds fun. It's been a minute. All right. Well, cool. So anyway, I did that, a practical application from last week. If you guys did anything with more incorporating analog and digital into your work pipelines, I'd love to hear how you guys did with that. Zandra says she's found that she's really good at squelching her creative impulses by just writing them down. Yes, that's exactly what I meant, right? Like you're just writing it down instead of getting up and doing a draft or getting up and actually doing it. Oh, I'll do it later. Is that what you mean, Zandra? Because that's kind of what that means to me. And Zandra also says, furthermore, that this week she actively didn't do that. She got an idea for an install, and she brought stuff to test her concept. Okay, perfect. So instead of just writing it down and then not going forward, this week Zandra was able to squelch the bad habit, that urge to just say, oh, I'll do it later, I'll just write it down and I'll come back to it. And she actually got up and got moving on it. And Zandra says, yes, like that's cool, I should do that. And then I do nothing. Exactly. Yeah, I find that yes, I'm there with you. Zandra says, Sari gets it. Yes, word, Zandra, word. Preach. I'm here with you for sure. It is Sunday, so, it's like Allison Gray. There's some visionary artists present day. I got to do a painting workshop with them when they came to Seattle, and I'm just like still riding that high. But they are based in New York, and they have a compound, and they host events all the time, and every Sunday they host art church, and this is on Sunday, so I'm feeling like I'm kind of living that vibe with them. Hopefully this is kind of just that stirring in your heart and soul. All right, Kim says that she hand draws all of her designs and patterns, and she even hand copies them. So she does want to try to do a digital pattern making program, but thinks that the learning curve will not be worth it. Kim, I don't know about actual pattern making programs. And I know I have had that same exact thought for myself where I'm like, oh, it's just going to take so much trouble to be a beginner for this technique. But what I have found, and see, I'm the same way, like I'll put stuff off too that you're like, oh, that's a really cool tool, but like I don't really want to take the time to learn it. I mean, that could be kind of an artist day, right? But circling back to your pattern program, I did 3D video game art design, and to make, what is it called? Repeating patterns, like a patch of grass, you had to have it like textile format. So if you put it up next to another block of the same image, that it would be seamless. That's the word, seamless textures. So Kim, seamless textures, if you have Photoshop, I can revisit, and I actually know how to do that. It's really easy and it's really fun. Of course, it's daunting, but seamless textures are really cool. I know there's a way to do it in Illustrator, so you can get like a vector so that it will be not only a seamless repeating tileable texture, but also a vector, so high resolution no matter what size. Got some action over here. Kim got me going. I'm sorry, Kim, but I absolutely think that would be cool. And Kim, if you figure out some info on that, I'd love to hear what you find. Zandra says to Kim, probably depends on what it is, but yeah, if you wanted to test one design in 20 colors, she does do that. Kim says there is one Glass Eye 2000 for stained glass. And Zandra says, ooh. So Glass Eye 2000 is the software and it's specifically for stained glass, Kim. That sounds pretty cool. And then Zandra uses her digital artwork so that she can test out colors, which that's really cool. I really like that you do that. So like, let's say you draw out a design and you want to test out colors, but you don't actually want to, you know, go that traditional art route where it takes time to fill all that in and make those mock-ups. Kim says, yes, that is for stained glass. I would absolutely love to see that. Also, Kim, have you done your workshop yet for the city? I'd love to hear how your workshop went. I feel like it's either happened or it's coming up. Kim, for those of you just joining, she is a stained glass artist, and she was going to teach a workshop for, I believe, the county has, the county that she lives in, is it North Carolina or South Carolina, has a program where they help people do get into new art fields, or not art fields, but you know, practice new art forms. And so Kim was going to teach a workshop. Not only was it her, I believe, first workshop teaching with this organization, but it was also her first quarantine workshop. So I'd absolutely love to hear how that went. Sandra says that to Kim that she found a cool thing she wanted to share with her, and to Google Cathedral of the Forest Dean. So Cathedral of the Forest Dean. No, stop it, Google. Oh, here we go. Forest Dean Sculpture Trail. Oh, Forest Dean Sculpture Trail. Is that what you're talking about? My Google pulled it up for me. Ooh, it looks like there's a bunch of like stained glass windows in the forest, maybe? That is so cool, actually. My mom called me. Very cool. Sorry, Mom, I'm doing a live stream. Sandra says, okay, so hey, Google, find Cathedral of the Forest Dean.
I found a few cathedrals near Forest of Dean, United Kingdom. The first one is All Saints Church, Newland at Almshouses Road,
Hey,
Newland.
Google, stop.
Okay, cancel.
Oh my God. I'm just going to take a picture of the chat because this is too obnoxious while I'm doing this. Okay, so Kim says, yes, her workshop did happen. It was for the Arts Council of Wayne County, the next county over from hers. And she says she had 3 students. Perfect. So I'm glad you had attendees. I'm glad that it was small enough for you to feel comfortable with the quarantine. I'd absolutely love, I hope you took pictures because I really want to see. And I know that I didn't use our Facebook group this week to post all my stuff. I have an excuse. I was working on other things. So I would absolutely love, Kim, if you posted pictures of your workshop in our Facebook group. I really want to see. Hopefully one day we'll start using it to share our artwork. I've been doing a lot of things, so I didn't want to inundate it. So we have, Zandra says the piece is called Cathedral of the Forest, and it's in the Forest of Dean. Oh my God, I really would absolutely love to see this. That sounds so cool. Come on. Okay. Kim says that she opened her studio this past week and she did have visitors. Oh my God, how exciting. So people are, hopefully your visitors are wearing masks and stuff. I know that you said you were in an area where people aren't necessarily paying heed to our health warnings about wearing masks. So I'm hoping that however your studio, Kim has an art studio as well. Hopefully your visitors were all being respectful. And Zandra says that she wants to post in the group, but she can't take photos of her art at the moment. That's cool. I know. I'm still trying to post in the group too. I'm just saying, like, oh gosh, it would be nice to use it during the week. But I've been getting a lot of things situated here. And hopefully you guys are getting a lot of things situated too. I know sometimes I feel like the going is so slow. But I've made a lot of headway, you guys. I published my new website structure this week. I went down and redid all the new bones of it. I added a bunch of paintings to my website that aren't on there, and I still have a bunch more paintings to go. So up until this week, my website really only had paintings from throughout the first of 2019. So I have a lot of paintings that need to go on there. And once I get all that done, I'm going to go through and try and get some different product on there and maybe get some social media advertising or something going so I can get more traffic to my website. So all good things in time, right? I'm just being patient. So Zandra says, nope. Kim says, yes, that many stores are not following the mandate to wear masks. Ooh. I'm really sorry to hear that. We've got to take care of each other. So, well, I'm glad you had visitors. I'm glad we've had this good time to catch up here. Does anybody have anything else from this last week? Otherwise, I'm going to keep going in here. So yeah, so side projects and hobbies are important. And you know, I've been stretching back out into these what do you call practices, I guess, artistic practices. You know, I've been doing more with my photography. I've been doing more with my photo editing. I have brain babies for some really cool art and animation combinations that are cooking up in my brain. So that's going to be what I tackle next too. So we have, Kim is saying that she has signs plastered all over that masks are required. That's perfect. Yeah, and I think that that's really necessary. So I'm glad that you're doing that. And yeah. Zandra says, hope that she doesn't have to fight with anybody about it. I know. So, you know, there's always going to be somebody that, you know, isn't going to play ball, but we can only do our best, right? All right. So what we have in here, the first chapter, is practice productive procrastination. And I wrote a list in here of all the things that I like to do when I just kind of bounce back and forth between tasks. So let's get in here to what is productive procrastination and how would we then practice it? And what we have here is, sorry, reset. It's the side projects that really take off. And by side projects, Austin means the stuff that you thought was just messing around. Stuff that's just play. And he says that that's actually the good stuff. That's when the magic happens. So play, you know, it could be like doodles. Could be, you know, what we were talking about last week with writing things down, just like maybe our morning pages, right? Like that's just word vomit. But sometimes in that word vomit, you get like really good ideas. So Austin says he thinks that it's good to have a lot of projects going at once so you can bounce between them. When you get sick of one project, move over to another. And when you're sick of that one, move back to the project that you left. practice productive procrastination. So then what we have here is productive procrastination is when you have multiple projects going on at a time. And when you get sick of one, you move to a different one. And I've been working with this concept that relates to this, in which if I don't feel like doing something and I'm not on a time crunch, I try to be like, okay, well, what do I feel like doing that is on my list? And one thing that we can kind of facilitate that more is breaking them down into like small steps. And then just, okay, do I feel like spending 30 minutes on this step right now? Just 30 minutes, that's it. And you can then tackle big projects in that way. So that kind of relates in here. So like, let's see, so coming back to what I've been doing with getting my website done is, you know, all the little steps that I had to do, I had to break down and write like a checklist, because the whole thing all at once was just too much, right? And so then, you know, I had multiple projects that I have been wanting to finish. And so without knowing it, I was utilizing productive procrastination, where I wasn't really procrastinating. I was actually working on things, but I wasn't like assigning a rigid schedule of I have to do this today. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, I do have things like that that are required of me, or that I've set goals and that I'm required to do them in a, you know, on a certain day or by a certain day in order to meet that goal. But we can utilize this with our task list, especially if the work that you're trying to do is related to your art practice. Or something that you're passionate about, right? Like you're gonna have like avoidance or a drive or boredom or disinterest. All of those things come into play. So this is really an interesting concept. So I'm just gonna repeat that again. Practice productive procrastination. It's when you have a lot of projects going on at once, and then you can just bounce between them. And then you can just do one when you get sick of another. So we got a little quote over here from Jessica. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm just going to let you. Jessica Hish. She says, the work you do while you procrastinate is probably the work you should be doing for the rest of your life. Over here we have a couple little images here. We've got glance out a window, eat a sandwich, go outside, stroll the streets. And Austin's telling us that we need to take time to get bored and to be bored and to have that moment to where there's nothing that you have to be doing, and allow yourself that time. Somebody over here, one of his coworkers says, when I get busy, I get stupid. And he's saying that creative people need time to just sit around and do absolutely nothing, because those are when the best ideas come. He said, I actually really like this. He says that he loves to iron his shirts because it's so boring, and he almost always gets good ideas while doing that. So down here, he's telling us, if you're out of ideas, wash the dishes, take a really long walk, stare at a spot on the wall for as long as you can. And there's an artist, Maya Kalman, and she says, avoiding work is the way to focus my mind. So we can tie this into that productive procrastination. I wrote a list here of all the things that I like to, well, not all the things, but some of the things that I like to bounce through, bounce back and forth from. One of them is to get rid of junk or clutter, you know, run errands, phone a friend that you haven't connected with in a while, apply for art grants, look at maybe making some social media content, organizing and reviewing ideas. Maybe Zandra, like you're talking about, you like to, what was it you said? You actually like to act on it, right? So for me, that would look like drawing a thumbnail of my idea instead of just writing it down. Doing a mock-up of an idea instead of just being like, some half-assed way of, oh, maybe I'll remember to do that later. Actually taking a step towards it. You know, looking through photos from old trips. A lot of these photos that you took for a reason. And if you don't go back and look at them to get that inspiration again, it's just going to go stale. So again, tying in being bored with that procrastination, you know, making sure that you take some time to be able to just be still and not do anything. Some of us who are workaholics can just be like, wow, I've spent like 12 hours doing stuff. Like maybe I can take some time out for myself. And then you'll find that'll help you with a lot of new ideas, right? So here he goes. Take time to mess around, get lost, wander. You never know where it's going to lead you. You know, I've added some things down here, like going out into the garden, cleaning some things. That's kind of boring, right? But like I'll put on music or a podcast, sitting by the water alone. This is my favorite boring thing to do. I don't find it boring. It's more meditative, but just sitting by that water and listening to the water. And if you can't get outside to a body of water, just put on some ambient nature noises or meditate. I get really cool ideas when I'm meditating. I'll be sitting there meditating, focusing on not thinking. And then, the thoughts come in and, you're supposed to let them go by like the cars on the side of the road. But oftentimes I'll get some inspiration after doing that because you've made that space. Sitting by that water, listening to it, listening to, ambient noise, cleaning, ironing shirts, like he says, you're making space to welcome in new things, new inspiration. Ooh, okay. So do you guys have hobbies? Because hobbies, oops, I'm jumping ahead. Crap. Hobbies are those things that you don't try to monetize. Hobbies are those things that you don't set limits on. Hobbies are those things that you allow yourself to be a beginner at. And I must argue that we should allow ourselves to be beginners at even things we consider ourselves professionals at. Circling back to what Kim's talking about doing her digital textile or your digital program, right? Like, and even I do this too. I'm not trying to call you out, but I do this too, where I'm like, oh man, I'd really like to learn that. But like, I don't take the time to do it. Even if it is a tool that could help. So yeah, maybe making that space, maybe adding that to our list of our productive procrastination. Like, I'm not going to be productive. I'm just going to try this. So don't throw any of yourself away. I like this. Do not leave any of your longings unattended. Unattended children will be given an espresso and a kitten, right? So what do your unattended longings do? Do they just like, what do they do? Do they wither up and feel sad in the corner? Or does some stranger give them espresso and a kitten? I think our unattended longings always come back to us. You can't ever really get away from that. So if you have 2 or 3 real passions, don't feel like you have to pick and choose between them. Don't discard. Keep all of them in your life. This is something that I learned from playwright Stephen Tomlinson. Tomlinson suggests that if you love different things, you just keep spending time with them. Let them talk to each other. Something will begin to happen. Over here, we have this cute little graphic of this little guy. It reminds me of the drawing from the Manners book. If you guys have ever read the Manners book, it's about each and every maybe rude thing that a child does becomes a character in the book. I don't know, just the way that they drew this little guy. Just Google the Manners book. Sometimes it's good to brush up on our manners. So don't worry about unity from piece to piece. What unifies all of your work is the fact that you made it. This is really hitting home with me. And I think I need to finish reading what he has to say before I add my anecdotes. So down here, Austin says that when you cut off those passions and you only focus on one, the other passions that you have start to have phantom limb pain. He says that when he was a teenager, he was obsessed with songwriting and playing in bands, and then he decided to focus on just writing, and he spent half a decade hardly playing any music at all. The phantom limb pain got worse and worse. And he says about a year ago, he started playing in the band again, and now he's starting to feel whole. And the crazy thing is, rather than the music taking away from his writing, he finds that it interacts with his writing and makes it better. And he says he can even tell that new synapses in his brain are firing and new connections are being made. He says that a lot of people in Texas have, normal businessy day jobs and they're not creatives, but they play in bands. And a lot of them tell him that music feeds into their work. Oof. So I've abandoned a lot of interests to focus on one. And I can really relate to that. So you guys in the chat, is there something in your experience? Have you experienced this with any of your hobbies versus your professional creative outlet? I know that Zandra does do painting and songwriting. I have a feeling you guys, I feel like we've had enough conversations to where I feel like you all kind of have outlets, and I think maybe all creatives have multiple outlets that they like to explore, and it's really easy to just get rid of some of our outlets, whether it be purposefully or inadvertently, and then later we're feeling those results or the resulting phantom limb pain from that. And I made a little note here that after time, your skills will naturally merge into combined or into projects that combine those skills. And I'm finding this in myself. My passions are really starting to connect, and I'm starting to see ways and get inspired for ways to combine all of them. But I think for me, I had a lot of creative blockage. And so I've been getting through that creative blockage and working on one outlet. And then I was really focusing on trying to monetize that outlet. So then it detracted a lot. But now that I'm not as worried about monetizing it, and I'm just worried about being productive and constant with it, I'm finding that I'm allowing myself to utilize all of these passions. And then from there, I've gone to where I'm at now, and where I'm getting inspired for projects that combine all of them. So, I can give you guys examples here, but we've got some action in the chat. So Zandra's saying that she did do this before, where she intentionally, but now she intentionally doesn't do it. She makes sure that she's not cutting off her passions. She said that at one point she cut out more and more things so that she could focus on her songwriting. And eventually she didn't even know who she was anymore, let alone what I wanted to write about. Right? Okay, so that hits me, that gave me goosebumps, Sandra. That hits me right in my heart, because I feel like with creatives, I think we're all going to find some resonance with this. Kim's over here saying that she loves her hobbies. She really enjoys to do collage, silverware jewelry. Ooh, that's really cool. I've seen some of that stuff. It's awesome. I actually have a shrimp fork that's a really cool design, and I've just been dying to make it into a ring. Kim also says that she does copper wire jewelry. She enjoys genealogy, and that she's starting a welding class in September for 10 weeks, and that she always wanted to weld. Kim, I always wanted to weld too. This is beautiful. And you can probably do some really cool stuff with welding, to where you make stands to hang, like standalone hanging pieces for your stained glass. Would that not be cool? You could weld a frame for like a room divider, and put your stained glass in it. You could do railings for people's balconies with your beautiful stained glass. Oh, I'm going crazy with this. This would be so cool for you. Yes, our hobbies can combine. I've been wanting to learn how to weld for so long. Oh, for garden stained glass. That's perfect. How pretty. So that ties in with the link that, or the thing that Zandra was trying to show us earlier, was the stained glass in the forest, stained glass in the garden. How magical is that? I love it. Yay, you guys. Get the people going. Love it. So for me, I'll share mine. My combined interests and passions. I recently made some animations / visualizations for some friends' music, and I came across this technical thing that I made, and I'm just dying, and it made some really trippy graphics, and I'm just dying to plug my painting video games. And so I know how to make all the art and the models and stuff for them, and so I'm just dying to make a virtual reality art gallery or a 3D art gallery where you could just walk through and see my art. Zandra says that there is